Hello, hello, and welcome to this late morning taste challenge. I have two bourbon whiskey products. This is Colonel E.H. Taylor, introduced in 2011. And it's bottled in bond. It's a line extension. They introduced this specialty line to extend Old Taylor, the original, which they still make, but they don't list it on the website. Old Taylor from 1887. But this is the Colonel E.H. Taylor from only 2011. And there's Colonel E.H. Taylor, honorary colonel. There's the Old Fire Copper Distillery, OFC, Old Fire Copper Distillery, now known as Buffalo Trace. It's been modernized, of course. These are both 100 proof. This has no age statement, but we know it's at least 4 years old. It's bonded whiskey, bottled in bond whiskey. And it's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey from Buffalo Trace Distillery. Here is Jeppson's bourbon, a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. So this is from CH Chicago Distilling, Carl Jeppson's company, Chicago, Illinois, but technically CH Distilling. Maybe that'll show up down there. 100 proof. It is a blend of straight bourbons from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, 3 different states, and it's bottled in Chicago. Now this Taylor runs $50, $60, true story. Maybe you could find a deal on it. Jeppson's runs about $30, but you could find a deal on it too, you know. It's got an old-fashioned look of label, but they updated the label. When I show you the website, you'll see they have a new label. This one, they make it look like an old sign, old placard. Age at least 4 years, so there's an age statement here. Age at least 4 years, non-chill filtered, and certified kosher. So I'll have to put that up there, kosher whiskey. Sazerac, Buffalo Trace, makes a whole line of whiskeys called kosher whiskeys. True story. Also, Jeppson's is 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. I don't know how they get that ratio if they got bourbon coming in from 3 states, but maybe, I'm thinking this, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Actually, that's the answer. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to guess. I do know one thing I don't have to guess about. A blend of straight bourbons is allowed to have coloring and flavoring added. Now, that's the comical part, right? If it's straight bourbon, you can add no color or flavoring. But if you have a blend of straight bourbons, in this case from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, you're allowed to add both coloring and flavoring and don't have to put it on the label. So these laws are, or I should say these regulations are very peculiar, very unusual. Real cork. So I know the Jeppson's is non-chill filtered. It says it on the bottle. I know it's kosher. It says it on the bottle. Do they have flavoring or coloring added? There's no indication on the bottle, but it doesn't say it. Notice that the bottle does not say natural color and flavor. It just says, or, you know, doesn't say anything about not being flavored or colored. So it's a question, and there's no answer for it. Of course, I could write an email to the company and ask them, but I'm not motivated to do that. Give your life to Christ and leave alcohol. Yes and no. My answer to you is yes and no. Jean Henderson Pierre says, "Hey Jay, about to do a review." Oh, okay, Jean, what are you doing? Okay, so This is copper, and this one is more amber. So the Jeppson's is lighter. I think it's the Jeppson's. Yeah. Trying to see what's going on down the street. Somebody's moving. I have to keep my eyes closed. If I glance and see the darker color, I'll know what it is. Once again, smells like typical bourbon. Kind of the roasted corn kernels, vanilla, charred oak, maybe a little cherry. I notice, like with bourbon, I notice cherry, but they don't add cherries. But, well, a blend of straight bourbons could literally add natural cherry flavor and get away with it. Yeah, same over here. Same, about the same. Don't know the mash bill in E.H. Taylor. I just know it's mash bill number 1, which is low rye, but they don't tell people what's in the mash bill. Just one is high rye, one is low rye. That's as specific as they get. Sugary sweet, roasted corn, like I said, corn kernels, medium body, dry finish, same old thing. I mean, it's not anything unusual. I mean, if you've tasted bourbon many times, you know the routine. Yeah. Yep. This one seems a little more savory, though, has like a little more depth of flavor. So therefore, and they both have a medium body and a dry finish. But since it has a depth of flavor, I think it's the Taylor. So it's a little bit better product. But actually, it's the Jeppson. So second, I've got it wrong. I've gotten it wrong twice in this tasting series, and I thought I would get it wrong 0 times. I thought the Taylor would dominate so much I would never get it wrong. It has dominated, but not totally, not in totality. It has 2 losses. So that's something to think about. And to lose to Jeppson's, half the price. Not if you don't find a sale or whatever, because you can find bourbon sales. Believe me. Might be a brand you never heard of, but then it's probably going to be good. So, wow, twice the price and still loses. Well, what do you do? What do you do? Sorry, Buffalo Trace. Guess they'll never send me anything anymore. No, just kidding about that. They've never sent me anything, ever. But just clowning around. So the Jeppsons had more depth of flavor. Wow. Never would have dreamed it. But they're both 100 proof, both 50% alcohol. So you never know till you try it. That's for sure. Until you try it, you don't know. Now you think, yeah, I know. You think you know, but do the blind taste test, and it might wake you up to certain realities. Certainly shocked me. Now the Taylor, I mean, I'm saying 95. I mean, it's solid A. That's if I'm lowballing it. You could go higher. I think you could go higher than 95. Maybe the 90s wouldn't go above 97. But really a great product. Super well made. I'm not saying wait in line for 30 minutes and get your name on a waiting list. I'm just saying if you see it and you want to pay for it, you're going to be satisfied. Jeppson's, obscure. They're famous for their Malort. Oh, I didn't do the screen share. Let me do that real fast. But I've never had Malort. I've never found it. So there's Jeppson. That's the new bottle. This is the new design, which to me is dull. They should have kept the older design, which had more character. This one's kind of Carl Jeppson. It's kind of dull, but that's what they want. So there's the 100 proof, and they also sell a 90 proof, which I've not seen anywhere. The 100 proof is a red label. The 90 proof is a yellow label. They also have some cask strength and barrel finished. The cask strength is between 116 and 122 proof. Probably depends on the batch. Age 4 years. Probably you got to get on a. You probably have to do a special order of that. I've never seen that in the store. It's probably a special order. Then they have barrel finish. Same proof. High. 116 to 122. Yields vary. Once again, a blend of straight bourbons. Sourced from Indiana. Finished. They have a sherry finish, a cognac finish, and a port finish. So they're the same bourbon. They're finished it in 3 different wines. You get one bottle that's finished in sherry wine. Get the second bottle, cognac. Well, that's a type of liquor. Sorry, wine, cognac. Cognac's actually a liquor made from wine. Or port, another type of strong wine. Okay. So they're really giving you 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're really 6 different bourbons. When we say made in Chicago, we mean it. Well, maybe they sort of mean it. There's that Malort. I guess they made the bourbon because they wanted the label to be different from the Malort, give it a little different look. They make a vodka, gin, rum. Yes, you can make rum in Chicago. Espresso martini cocktail, peppercorn vodka. Amargo de Chile, don't know what that is. Kind of, a Reuben, some kind of liqueurs. But yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. E.H. Taylor comes in that fancy cylinder. Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch. It's for the more advanced drinker, like you need practice to drink it. Yeah. Cheers, Louisiana Liquor Reviews. Just about over that cold, I hope. I really am over it for about 2 days now, but it's just a leftover of it. I think it made my nose sore. You know, like I was blowing my nose so much, it's just like my sinuses are sore, inflammation. You dig? So it'll recover. May take a week, but it's just a matter of where it's not sore anymore. So yeah, but I feel fine. Just don't. I talked to somebody on the phone a little while ago, and she was telling me, "Oh no, you sound worse." I said, "No, it sounds that way because of the inflammation and the soreness of my sinuses." I said, "But no, I feel fine." She said, "You might have been a lot sicker than you thought." I said, "Maybe." I never really felt horrible. I was still doing beer reviews and going for my walks and everything. I just felt kind of not so great for a couple of days, but blowing your nose 100 times a day is not going to make you feel so nice. But I didn't really actually feel that bad. Some people might say that and die 10 minutes later. You know, they'd be like, "I don't feel bad." Maybe they don't, but they're dying. You know, I don't know. I had a couple of cans of Trader Joe's drive-through red ale, just okay. Oh, you thought it was just okay? Now, see, that one's really good to me. I think it might be better than the Trader Joe's. I mean, it's a red ale, but I'm saying it might be better than the George Killian's Irish Red Lager, which obviously is a lager. But it's hard to say. I'd have to do a blind. I would never do an ale versus a lager, though. So but they're both red beers. I know that, but I feel like I'd be cross-lining. Trump, let's see, Tommy Carroll says, Louisiana Liquor Reviews, Trump and saying we should open up the insane asylums again. What's your opinion? I agree with that because they shut them down years ago under pressure, really after that movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest came out 51 years ago, written by a guy who was a promoter of lysergic acid diethylamide and was connected to the Central Intelligence Agency, I might add. And it was almost like it was a psychological operation on the population to make them think that we should let these poor people out. They're just like you and I. And then they started letting them out, and then the homeless population exploded in the 80s. And they said, it's Reagan. It's because of Ronald Reagan. He's caused this. No, it's because you let people out onto the streets that had no business being on the streets. They're out of their minds with schizophrenia. And so now you have cities flooded with homeless people. They have no jobs, don't want a job, could not hold a job if they had one, need to be confined somewhere because they're a danger to themselves and others. And so I would have to say I 100% agree with that idea. All right, so two winners here, but I wouldn't have thought it before. I would not have believed that before the video started. I would have thought that Taylor, even though it could have been a tough challenge with Jeppson's being 100 proof, I thought Taylor would just run ahead of it, but it did not happen that way. And that was an honest challenge, so you can't cheat if it's blind. I mean, there might be a way to do it, I don't know, but I wouldn't cheat if I could. But so cheers to Jeppson's for pulling it off today. And I got enough left for probably 3 or 4 more taste challenges. I'll say at least 3. I'll say 3, probably 4 is pushing it. Do you have a cure if you get a basketball Jones? I say I'd just be dribbling. I think in that case, every day you be dribbling. Oh, baby, ooh.